Okay, so today we're doing questions 33 through 40, so 8 questions, and then tomorrow and Monday next week, it's only 7. So we're headed downhill from here. Number 33 says, hold on, let me turn on my. Number 33 says the graph of f of x equals x squared was transformed to create the graph of g of x equals f of x minus 9. Which statement about the graphs is true? So we've done a transformations problem before at the beginning of this test. And we took notes on it. So let's refer back to those. Let's see if I can find them. Okay, so here's our notes that we took before on transformations. So as you can see, the number in front of the F. So I would write this down if you didn't the last time, because there's always at least one question about this on the STAAR test, usually more. So the number in front of the function makes it wider or skinnier. The number inside the parentheses moves it left and right, and it's the opposite of the sign. So if there's a plus, it moves left. If there's a minus, it moves right. And then numbers outside of the parentheses move it up and down. So minus would be down, plus would be up, okay? So this is something that you should study, that should be on your STAAR cheat sheet that you are writing down. Okay, so I'll give you a second to copy that. Okay, so if you haven't copied it all the way down now, take a picture of it real quick. And then we're gonna go back to number 33. Okay, so this one has a -9 outside of the parentheses, like after the parentheses. If you guys remember, that minus k means that it goes up or down. And since it's a subtraction sign, that means that it's going to go down. So let's figure out which one of these says that. So it's a reflection of the graph across the x-axis, no. Vertex of the graph is 9 units to the right, no. Reflection, no. The y-intercept of the graph is 9 units below, so that means down. So the answer is D. Okay, so that's 33. 34 says the expression x to the 22nd power times x to the 7th raised to the 3rd is equivalent to x to the p. What is the value of p? So we're basically just figuring out what the exponent is whenever we simplify this. So x to the 22nd times x to the 7th to the 3rd. Is that right? Yeah. So order of operations means that we do exponent to the exponent first. Remember, when we raise an exponent to an exponent, we multiply those exponents. So this is going to become x to the 22nd times x to the 21st, because 7 times 3 equals 21. And then when we're multiplying, remember it's one step down. That means that we add the exponents. So that would be x to the 43rd power. So our answer is 43. All right, on to 35. The graph of the linear function k passes through the points -7, 0, and 1, 8. Which statement must be true? So let's graph this on our sheet. So we got -7, 0. Remember that the coordinates go in the order x, comma, y. So that means we find the -7 on the x-axis first, and then 0 on the y-axis would be right here. And then 1, 8 would be 1 on the x-axis, 8 on the y-axis, which is right here. And then we can draw a straight line through those 2 points. Oh, that was not a very good line. Okay, there we go. And from that line, we can figure out the slope. So let's count our slope, or let's look at our answer choices first. So the first one says the slope of k is -4/3. So going from left to right, this line is going up. So that means that it is not a negative slope. Okay, so A is not the answer. The graph of k passes through the point -1, -8. So let's look at that. -1, -8 is right here. So that one is not true. The 0 of k is 7. So 0 means, so this one's trying to trick you. That means x-intercept. The y-intercept is 7, but the x-intercept is -7. So this is the 0. Okay, not the y-axis. So that one was trying to trick you. C is probably the most commonly chosen one, but that one is not the answer. And then it says the x-intercept, so that one's specific, is -7, and that is the best answer. So the answer is D. All right, so that one was just literally you draw it on the graph and then check out your answer choices. Number 36 says which expression is equivalent to 210d squared and -63d. So what we can do for this one is we can plug in that first equation to y equals, and then figure out which one of these equations is equal to it. And we're going to have to change our d's to x's. So remember, when you're plugging stuff into the calculator, you have to change them to x's. Okay, so let's go to our graphing calculator. Remember that you guys should be plugging this in with me so you can be practicing and getting that muscle memory. All right, so here's my graphing calculator. I'm going to clear out what's in there. Then I'm going to go to y equals and plug in the equations. So I'm going to pull up the STAAR test on my computer so I can see them. Okay, so the answer choice, or the equation in the problem is, let's clear out our y equals. Remember, we're in y equals, which is in the top left-hand corner. So we've got 210x squared minus 63x. And then we want to see if our answer choices match it. So we've got 21x times 10x minus 3. We've got 21x times 10x plus 3. And you can do this one at a time or all at once. So then we've got 21 times 10x plus 3 and 21 times 10x minus 3. And so we hit graph. And this is what we've got. So I need to zoom in. So I'm going to press the zoom button, which is in the middle at the top, and zoom in a few times. And let's see. All right, so from this, it's pretty hard to tell, right? So I'm going to go to y equals. I'm going to clear out 1. I'm going to clear out the green. So let's look at the green line. Do you guys see the green line? So whenever I clear it out, that means that there should be a line underneath it. So I'm going to clear out green, and I'm going to hit graph. There is not a line underneath it. Now I'm going to go to pink. So here's pink. When I clear it out, there should be a line underneath it. There was not. So now it's in between black and red. And so I'm going to take out black. And there wasn't a line underneath it. So now I'm going to take out red. And the blue line was right underneath it. So that means that red and blue were the same. Blue was the one from the problem, and red was the first answer choice. So we know that our answer is F. The algebraic way to do this is to take out the GCF, which we just learned. So we got 210d squared minus 63d. And so we would have to figure out what our GCF is. And there's a hint in the answer choices. They're all 21. So that means I'm going to be taking 21 out. So we would divide by 21. And then we take the variable with the lowest exponent. So that's just a d. And so now we have 21d on the outside. And then we would have 10d minus 3 on the inside, which was answer choice F. Okay, number 37 is a system of equations problem. We did one yesterday too, and it's asking us to find the x in the solution. So we are automatically already set up to do substitution. So remember, if you want to learn more or watch another video about substitution, Google system of equations, substitution, and lots of notes videos will come up. So we are going to take what y equals, which is negative 5x plus 32, and we're going to plug it in for y in the other equation. So now we will have 3x minus 5 times negative 5x plus 32, and that equals 22. So now we're just solving this equation for x. So our first step is going to be to distribute. So that's 3x plus 25x, because that was a negative times a negative, minus 160 equals 22. We are going to combine like terms. So you've got 28x minus 160 equals 22. Then we're in reverse PEMDAS, so we add 160 to both sides. That gives us 28x equals 182. And then we divide both sides by 28, which is, what was it, 182? 182 divided by 28 is 6.5, and that is answer choice C. All right, 3 more to go. We're more than halfway there. All right, which graph best represents y equals 10 times 0.85 to the x power? So all we have to do is plug that equation into our calculator and see which one of these graphs matches it. So 10 times 0.85. So I'm going to go to y equals. I'm going to clear out what I've got in there. And then I'm going to plug in my equation. So 10 times 0.85. Remember, to raise an equation to the x power, you do the caret button. The caret button is right above the division button. And then we do x. Remember, x is right next to the green button. Then we hit graph. And I had zoomed in a lot with my last problem, so I can't see my graph. So I'm going to zoom out. So we press the zoom button and then we zoom out and we keep doing it until we see something. So now I'm starting to see something. And there it is. So I can automatically cross off F and H. Hold on one sec. Okay, so we can cross off F and H. And then let's look at the difference between G and J. So G crosses at 10, and it looks like Y also could. And then let's see what the next point that we can see is. So for J, it looks like 2 is at 0. And for G, 2 is around close to 7. So now let's go back and look at our graph. And at 2, let's see. So we can go trace. Let's see. So to find this, I'm going to press second trace. So the blue button and then the trace button, which is just to the left of graph. Then I'm going to hit value. And then I'm going to figure out what it is at 2. And at 2, it says that Y is 7.225. So do you guys see that in the tiny little bottom left-hand corner of my graphing calculator screen? It says that it's supposed to be at around 7. So our answer is G. All right, 2 more. The table shows a linear relationship between X and Y. What is the rate of change? Rate of change, remember, is slope. Slope is change in Y over change in X. So let's make a change in X column, a change in Y column. For X, we're going negative 20 to 12 is plus 8. 12 to negative 6. Negative 12 to negative 6 is plus 6. Negative 6 to negative 2 is plus 4. So for all of our changes in X's, we're going to have over 8, over 6, and over 4. And now we've got the change in Y. So from 96 to 60, it's minus 36. From 60 to 33, it's minus 27. And from 33 to 15, it's minus 18. And so we need to simplify these fractions. And if you simplify all of them, they end up being negative 9 over 2, which is A. All right, and finally, it says which value of X is a solution to this equation? So we can plug this equation into Y equals in our graphing calculator. I'm going to go to Y equals, clear out what's in there, and then I've got 5x squared minus 36x plus 36. And I want to figure out where this line equals 0. So I'm going to hit graph, and I'm going to take a look. So I know that it crosses on the right side of the graph, so I can automatically cross off G and J. Sorry, not G and J. F and H. I know that the answers that are possible are G and J. So now I need to figure out, is a answer 1.2 or 4. And so this is going to be us finding the x-intercept. And the way we find the x-intercepts is we do second trace and then 0. And then we have to do left bound. So if you see at the top of the screen, it says left bound question mark. That means we press enter on the left side of the x-intercept. And then we have to scroll to the right until our scroller is on the right side, which I don't see my scroller. What the heck happened to my scroller? Hold on. This is super annoying. Okay, let's say that that failed. And now let's go look at the table. So let's try that. Let's see if at 4, y equals 0. So I'm going to hit second graph. And at 4, y equals negative 28. So that means that I can cross off 4 as an answer. And then that only leaves 1.2 as my answer choice. So at 4, it did not equal 0. So 1.2 has to be an answer choice. Another way to do this problem is to plug in these numbers and see if the quadratic equals 0 when you plug them in. So that'd be like 5 times negative 6 squared minus 36 times negative 6 plus 36. You would want to see, does that equal 0? And you would do the same thing for all 4 numbers. And if one of them equals 0, then that is your answer choice. And J would equal 0. That's probably the way we should have done it from the beginning. But lots of ways to solve these problems, guys, using your graphing calculator and working back from the answer choices. So just remember that whenever you're taking the test next week. That's all I've got.